Good morning, good morning, good morning. How is everybody doing today? As you guys come in, definitely let us know where you're coming in from. And we will get started very, very quickly. I know people are just super excited to be here. And it looks like people are starting to get notified. So I'll send. Okay. Looks like we have Missouri here. How we doing today, Daydream? Pennsylvania. Welcome. Waiting on our guest. Georgia. Eastern Tennessee. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, we will be getting in. We will be getting rolling very quickly, guys. So just bear with us for a few more minutes while we let people start populating in here. Showing that I have 12 here. We have Lori from Washington. Welcome. Oh, you got to be kidding me. North Carolina. Bear with me for a few seconds, guys. I do not have my customary drink in front of me, and today might get a little Cali next week. Okay, New York, Pennsylvania. So yeah, we're definitely going to be catching in very quickly. I know everybody's starting to. Okay, so just waiting on Sam, and then we will get the showboat rolling. So it looks like we have a couple new ones one from Nebraska, Oklahoma, another Pennsylvanian, Ohio. Sounds like we're getting to have a full house here. So we're definitely coming in pretty strong. So yeah, just waiting for Sam. So as soon as she is on, we will get this show started. So I'm gonna jump real quick, guys, and I am going to we're gonna cover a variety of different topics, Peaches. So I'm gonna grab a Pepsi real quick, and I'll be right back. Sunny South Florida, probably, I assume. Oh, there we are. I can see Sam knocking on the door.
Mm-hmm.
When you come in, Sam, I actually have to add you to the stream, but
Okay.
when you were waving at everybody, nobody saw you.
Okay, that's all right.
No, it looks like we have the scrubs and everything, huh?
Oh, no, these are just regular people clothes. I guess all my clothes look pretty much like that.
Oh, it's all right. So guys, just to cover a few different topics, just real quick. So I am going to be rolling out a Second Amendment shirt here today, one that is discussing the Second Amendment. So a portion of the proceeds from every shirt will actually go towards helping with the lawsuit costs that are to actually go against the Second Amendment, the ones, all these laws that are being passed to infringe on your Second Amendment rights, we are actually going to be joining the lawsuit. And yeah, so we're gonna roll one out. It'll probably be later this afternoon. So definitely check out the store later this afternoon. I'll let everybody know in Signal as soon as it's up and ready. So yeah, guys, we are in the fight of our lives. I was reading a story this morning that now they are definitely pushing forward to infringe on our Second Amendment rights. So people ask, well, what can we do about it? Well, there's a courts, and so far the courts have overturned every law that's actually infringed on our rights. Now we're going to make sure it is put down as court precedent. So that'll be coming out later on today, and yeah, so keep an eye on the store. Definitely pop over, grab a shirt, grab a hoodie, whatever it is. Normally I don't push products, but guys, this is important. So still haven't seen the King me. Definitely reach out to me afterwards because I forget to do that. So yeah, you
Now,
guys, what's that?
is that all the proceeds like from here on out?
So a portion of the proceeds for that particular shirt.
Oh, for one shirt. Okay.
For that, those like the cups, and because I'll have it on cups, I'll have it on shirts, I'll have it on hoodies, I'll have it on like we're gonna do 50%. So
Okay.
for me, that's kind of why I'm not one of those guys that will go out there and just throw 50-60% around, but yeah, 50% of the proceeds for anything that we generate off of the Second Amendment stuff, that'll go towards the lawsuit, and the rest will go towards making sure that everything's taken care of, so we can continue to do what we're doing. So
yeah, okay, that sounds good.
But I know the second time on.
I know. I'm really excited.
Yeah,
So.
I know. There's a few things that you were going to cover the last time we were on, but I also kind of want to. After you texted me and asked me if there's anything that, in particular, I didn't really have anything, but there, again, going back to keeping people healthy and talking about, I know Jason, you and Jason just need to get together and put together a gardening series because I think you guys would be great at it. So
I brought like seed packets, how to read the seed packets. I've got the whole thing ready to go.
oh boy. Well, so yeah, I know one thing that you and I had talked about before in our 15-minute conversation that we had prior to this whole thing ever starting, was going and discussing like oxidative stress and what that does, what that is, and what it means to our bodies.
Yes.
And I know I sent you a couple videos and stuff like that, and I'm sure you dug, being the person that you are, you probably dug into that, and you're like, I'm gonna dig into this.
Yeah. Definitely a little bit. I have done something, and I'm not sure what it was. I'm gonna try to get back to where I am. Nope.
Well, I can still see you, so you haven't.
That's good because I can't see you. Okay, there we go. All right,
Yeah,
so
there's a little circle with that looks like a target. Just
uh-huh.
click on that tab.
Okay, yeah, I've got two of those open because apparently I opened the wrong link, and that's where I was like earlier when you were waiting for me. I was like, I'm here. I don't know what's going on. So
Yeah, you
I think it
probably
was
went to
last
the old
week.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that still has a circle, and honestly, I'll deal with that later. But I'm trying to to reduce this down. I found some more, just some Google articles on some oxidative stress, but stuff that made it
A lot
layman's
more
term. Mm-hmm.
a
Yeah.
lot more understanding or
Mm-hmm.
understandable for you
Yeah. Yeah.
and probably for most laymen out there.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, because I think it's important for people to realize too that oxidative stress is the number one. I I believe, and I think it's verified through a lot of research that their oxidative stress is the leading cause of 90% of all diseases.
Yeah. That seems to be from like reading these, what it's and going over the information you sent me. It seems to be a heavy factor in a lot of our disease because honestly a lot of our disease processes are inflammatory related. um,
Yeah, and I think a lot of most people don't think of it as oxidative stress. They think of stress. They're talking about their physical or the metaphysical stress that
mhm,
they have on their bodies, whether it's through the cares and different things that they have on their bodies themselves. But
or just mechanical repetitive mechanical stress, but this is actually stress on the genetic level kind of.
yeah, and it's based solely in our cells. So I mean,
Hmm.
so I mean, I know there's quite a bit that I'm just getting a text that power went out in Roswell, New Mexico. So,
Better hope they have the generators going.
well, those aliens, they like to take that power out.
They do.
Yeah, I like to joke around a little bit with one of our audience members is from Roswell, and that's
Okay.
who was texting me. So, but
Okay,
here
so I'm
right away.
the question of the day, what is oxidative stress? All right, uh, I'm gonna go way like low key, low tech. I'm gonna read for you from what is this? Medical News Today. Um, just because isn't there a better one? Sorry, from Hindawi.com, medicaljournal.com. I liked this one. Oxidative stress is viewed as an imbalance between the production of reactive oxygen species and their elimination by protective mechanisms, which can lead to chronic inflammation. In a further article or definition, if you just Google the reactive oxygen species, it'll tell you basically that it's
or
free
in
radicals.
layman's or in layman's terms, free radical damage.
Free radicals. Mm-hmm. Yep. So,
So
um,
a lot because when I was first introduced to oxidative stress, okay, guys, being a nurse and being a certified nurse practitioner, you would think that I would have knew the term free radicals. I didn't. So everything was under oxidative stress. Everything was under reactive oxidation and different things. So I was completely clueless as to what oxidative or what free radical damage was. So to draw the correlation between the two, that free radical damage is oxidative stress. Those oxidative stress is more of a medical terminology for what like the nurses and the doctors would use. Free radicals is more of the layman terms. So just so
Mhm.
everybody knows what's going on.
Mhm. And the idea behind it being that we're not vilifying oxygen. Oxygen's like it's good, it's way important, but it has a high tendency to bond with other with other molecules, with other even other oxygen atoms. So um, because of that, it's free radical. It kind of can freely roam through your body, attaching and creating things that aren't necessarily used properly in the body. Is that a good way to say that?
So free radical damage. Okay, so when our bodies break down like all your food and everything that you ingest, the air that you breathe is not 100% pure oxygen. Anybody that says that what we breathe is pure oxygen is lying to you. Because quite honestly, if our body was to ingest pure oxygen, we would we wouldn't
Oxygen
sur-
toxicity.
yeah, we would die. So, but
The air is
so
mostly nitrogen.
yeah, I think it's like 87%
Yeah,
nitrogen.
something like that. We're only like 26% oxygen in the
But
air, something like that.
so when people talk about oxidative stress, what are they talking about? So when you ingest food, when you breathe the air, when you're doing all these daily activities, basically you're ingesting all these chemicals. The oxygen inside your bloodstream, inside your cells, will actually bind with these, and as your mitochondria break that down into the basic elements like glucose to where your body can actually use it, the what's let off is oxidative stress or those free radicals, and that's what perforates the cells. That's what makes our cells more susceptible to damage from external forces. So yeah, there's a lot of companies out there that really focus on it. And yeah, Sally, I've heard of isotonic, but guys, there's every sign you go into the supermarket. What's the number one sign that you see? You see antioxidants, antioxidants, antioxidants. Well, what they don't tell you is that, guys, your body produces antioxidants if the right switches are flipped genetically. And so you can take in all the antioxidants in the world. And I know some people are gonna get mad at me for saying this, but as you age, I don't think you could take in enough antioxidants to offset any damage to your body. Most are direct antioxidants, which are a 1-to-1 ratio within our own body. So yeah, I'm just babbling now, so I'll let you go.
Okay, so and actually you're doing a really good job, and you clearly have a better understanding of it than I do. When I was looking at all that stuff, I did have to heavily rely on going back to Google and interpreting a lot of this stuff for me. Um, so uh, from what I can tell, free radicals they actually like you said, they work within your mitochondria. They can actually kind of uh, they can damage your DNA. Um, and once that damage is done, I mean that's your cells reproduce from each cell. So if you have a cell with damaged DNA, each successive cell from that will also carry that damage. Um, uh, I'm actually at this point, I'm just looking at my resources that I tried to pull.
Yeah, no, and I understand, and I kind of put you on the spot here too. So,
just a little bit. I just a little bit.
but yeah, no, there, guys. So the biggest thing is it does reproduce time and time again, and people are asking me. Somebody asked me, well, what is the reason for cancers? People want to know cancers. Well, guess what? Cancer originally starts because of damaged DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certain switches that don't get turned off, so it just keeps reproducing over and over and over, and that's when you start to get like, your tumorous growths and different things like that. And it keeps compounding over and over and over again. So, guys, there's a lot of things that are dealing with aging and cancers and all that. And it all comes back to oxidative stress. Well, why don't you hear about that? Maybe you can talk about that. Why don't you hear about all of it being caused by oxidative stress?
Because if it's caused by something that you can fix, honestly, you can fix it, and then you have no market once you fix something. And that's a really, really ballsy statement to make on that, especially considering my position and my profession. But pretty much that's what it comes to. These are chronic chronic fatigue syndrome, diabetes, heart disease, COPD, atherosclerosis, macular degeneration, basically inflammation, rheumatoid arthritis. These are chronic conditions. A chronic condition is something that you don't cure, you just treat the symptoms of. It is incredibly profitable to treat symptoms. It is not profitable. Cures aren't profitable. They're not. Once you've cured someone of something, it doesn't come back, and then it's a one-time sale.
Is that why we don't have a cure for cancer?
I can't say that is why we don't have a cure for cancer. You're pushing it. But I can say that I have heard of treatments in the past for cancer that are no longer pursued in modern medicine. I'm not saying it's because they were found to be incredibly effective to the point of possibly removing the tendency to reemerge of the cancer. And I'm not saying the word, but I will say that the information that I saw indicated that after being treated with these particular courses of treatment, there was not a recurrence of cancer.
Yeah. No, and I knew I was pushing the envelope there a little bit.
You are. You're just trying to get me fired. But
no, guys, everybody, I'd rather the way kind of the mission statement of the whole thing is we want a well-informed public more than anything else. And to give you guys the ability to do the research to understand what's going on, where are they hiding all of this stuff? Are they really doing it out of the best interest of us, or is it more to make money?
And there are interests involved, and there are interests involved. They're not necessarily ours. There are.
One second. Good night, Alpha. Sleep well. We will see you on the evening broadcast probably. But yeah, this is what's the pocketbook.
Yes, well, let's realistically, the pocketbook is going to drive any industry. The people, pharmaceutical companies, they may be pharmaceutical companies, but they are run by businessmen. The bottom line of a businessman is not how well it helps another human being. It is going to be how profitable it is. And part of that is because they have a responsibility to their company, to their shareholders, to all the people involved in their business. That is what they're there for. They are there to make money. These are not, these are not just, these are not saints. These are businessmen. They are there to make money. Having said that, it would be really, really great if they could make money and cure people at the same time. But it seems that cures are just not at all as profitable as treatments, recurring treatments. And so if you're there to make money, you know which one's going to be the priority.
Yeah. Well, I was actually looking at a medical billing statement from a hospital close by.
Mm-hmm.
And for a Taxol treatment, which is for the treatment of cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So for a Taxol treatment, it's $16,000.
Mm-hmm. And I believe that's the one treatment, right?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
per treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Did I get your whisper? I'm no, I did not. So um I'll send you guys. I do have my email working again, so there's the email address if you guys. So Taxol is a very expensive drug,
Mm-hmm.
and I know that they push insurance. Okay, so this is how the medical industry gets you. So they push insurance. The insurance gets you. You pay $390,
Per
give or
person
take,
per
depending
month.
on how many dependents and how many people are on the policy and so on and so forth. And then so you get your insurance, and now you get cancer. Well, everybody else who is healthy, they're paying their insurance, and you've been paying your insurance. All of a sudden, that $16,000 a week or whatever for the Taxol hits, and now it's just one after another, and you just the more it builds, and then okay, so let's just say the average Taxol treatment cycle once a week for 12 weeks. That's usually what it runs. Well, I don't, and Taxol itself, if you were to buy it straight, and I say buy it straight, just if you were to buy it straight from the manufacturer, you would pay $160 per
Mm-hmm.
treatment. So let's do this math real quick. So 16,000 times 12, it's $192,000.
Mm-hmm.
So and 160 times 12, $1,920.
Mm-hmm.
So which one's more profitable?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody and
Don't
their
know.
dog has to get paid in between.
Mm-hmm.
So guys, there's a lot of money. That's why when Trump was talking about truth in billing and all that, you have to, people need to know, and people need to know how to negotiate with the doctors and so on and so forth, because guess what? Otherwise you're on the hook and nobody's.
Yes. Yeah. There's no transparency in medical in our billing process. I mean, there's very little transparency, and despite the push towards it, there's still not a whole lot in the way of transparency. I mean, they'll tell you what it's for, but there's not a transparency as in this is what we paid for it, this is what we're charging you for it. You're not going to find that on those invoices.
Usually insurance companies have negotiated rates which are significantly below billed amounts. That used to be the case. And I will say used to be because anymore with Medicare, Medicaid, they don't have to. Medicare, Medicaid actually set the price pretty much, and the taxpayers eat the rest.
Yes,
So,
and insurance companies will follow Medicare, Medicaid.
Yep.
In there, if Medicare, Medicaid set the precedent, insurance companies will follow it.
Yeah, and I know that there's a lot of people that might disagree with me, but being somebody who actually dealt with billing and dealt with patients, and I actually had a couple patients call me when I was actually practicing. I had a couple patients call me screaming at me, how can you bill this? And I'm like, what are you talking about? I didn't do any of the billing. So I actually sat down with them. They came in, brought their bill in. We sat down, and I looked at how much was going into this bill, and I'm like, holy crap. So I started doing a lot of research, and that's what I started finding. And if people don't ask the questions, they just assume that the insurance companies are just doing their thing. But the truth of the matter is if people negotiate and ask the right questions, I can actually go into the doctor right now, pay $150 cash out of pocket, and get the same treatment without even going through insurance. So it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to negotiate than it is to go pay for a lot of insurance that is only going to that might knock your copay down to $30 or whatever for the office.
Right, but for that $30 copay, you still paid $390 a month times 12 months.
Yeah.
If you're someone who goes to the doctor, twice a week, twice a month, if you're someone who, honestly, if every time you cough, you run to that doctor and say, hey, I need some antibiotics, then it might be, kind of worth it for that $300 whatever a month. But if you're someone who goes to the doctor when you're
for a yearly physical,
and or your yearly physical, yep.
Guys, that's honestly the most I go to the doctor. I go for a yearly physical and I pay $150 out of pocket, done. And then I don't see the doctor for another full year. So people, $750 every 2 weeks. Yeah. And we're just crazy. We're going off of a single.
But yes, I believe that $750 every 2 weeks. And it's exorbitant. It's ridiculous. It's good grief. $750 every 2 weeks. God bless it. Yeah.
If you're a healthcare provider and don't have an agreement with insurance companies to
something, you can charge whatever you want or negotiate for whatever price you want. Okay.
And like Sanford, Sanford's where I go, and it's one of the largest I almost said hotel chains. It is one of the largest hospital chains in the world. And I literally have went in the first time I went to Sanford, my bill was over $1,700 for a yearly physical. And I laughed at him. I said, there's no way. I started asking them questions, and they were throwing in billing codes that were redundant. So there was one for weighing, getting my weight, and then getting my height. And it's just all these questions that they ask you, they're billing you for them. And it comes to the tune of like $150 every question they ask.
Yeah.
And that's So when I talk about it, I went in, I handed him a bill, and I said, "There's no way." I said, "I'll pay this cash, but this is what I'm willing to pay." And they came back and said, "Well, for you were here for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it was. This will you accept this?" And it was $150, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'll take that." I mean, that versus what I was going to pay. Negotiating and actually understanding the billing codes and how all these codes are redundant. And a lot of nurses don't really see that, and a
No,
lot
we
of
don't.
doctors don't see it. So they really don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing their charting, they're punching everything into the computer
Mm-hmm.
from your blood pressure to your heart rate, all this stuff. They punch it in the computer. And for every keystroke or for everything that they punch in, you are getting billed for it. So to get that redundancy out of there, you negotiate it down, and you can, outside of insurance, if you don't have insurance, you can negotiate it down and actually save yourself a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Lori, 1,200 for health insurance. Yeah.
Yeah, that's I'm not as much as I am in healthcare, and I am theoretically a fan of healthcare. I'm a fan of the idea of like treating people when they're sick, but we do it wrong. We do it wrong. It is Healthcare is very much a money making operation. It feels like anymore, that if you can happen to make somebody's life a little bit better while you're doing it, that's a bonus. But that doesn't really seem to be the goal.
No, and honestly, that's why I ended up walking away from the healthcare field, because I knew that the way things were going, it's a cartel. And let's just call it as it is, because that's what it is. It's a big. If you look at the top three big money industries, healthcare is right up there.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep. And if you've got hospital administrators who are I don't know what their salary is. I worked at a hospital once where someone accidentally leaked the hospitals are required to publish their budget every year, and they'll publish it publicly, but it's in like some file that you have to. It's just named a code, and you would have to type in that code to be able to find it. And someone in their office that year accidentally published it under the heading like budget, and every employee got in the hospital got to look on there and see what the administrators were making and see what their we're talking like, and this is a fairly small hospital, upwards over a half a million, and that's like I'm being conservative there because I'm not going to give a number. Over a half a million a year for the lead person in his bonus, and that's on top of his salary. And this was a hospital where we were regularly being told, we just can't hire any more staff. It's just not in the budget. And so we're all going, wait a minute, the bonuses are what's left over in the budget after you paid all the bills for the year. How is it that you got a half a million? And there were like 5 administrators easily, that lead administrators easily, that get
$500,000 plus.
yeah. And
Yeah.
how is it that with all this extra money sitting around, you can manage to hire another LPN at $36,000 a year? This is ridiculous. So
Yeah, and guys, it happens all the time. So Sanford, that's one thing. Like Sanford, that they're the CEO of Sanford. So he's paid over $7.5 million.
Mm-hmm.
and that's his salary. And then you look at his bonus and stock options and all that. You're talking multiple millions of dollars there. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, it is a business. However, when you're talking about when your supposed mission statement is to help as many people get better as possible, and you have you're short staffed all the time and so on and so forth, you're really not helping anybody. The only thing you're helping is your pocketbook. I know there's a guy, the Danny Sanford, who started the Sanford Hospital. He came out and said, yeah, he came out and said that the hospitals are in it to make money, and he was unabashed about it. Yeah, and there's good reasons to have insurance. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
arguing
Yeah.
against it, but for people who like me that very rarely go to the doctor, having insurance that was not something that I had a whole lot of care to do.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's the other thing, and I don't know. This is something I have heard. I don't know how much accuracy is in it, but it's my understanding that, and Shane, you can probably actually have a better insight into this than I do. It's my understanding that when you have someone who is uninsured, and they are now in the billing stage of their some major disaster healthcare, you have a certain rate for the uninsured. I mean, they write off something like 80% of that. Is that correct?
Yeah, and that's but still, even with the uninsured, when you're a hospital can write off, and then of course there's financial assistance and different
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But when people are uninsured, they automatically when it goes to the billing, the uninsured right away you get a bill for let's use Jason's example, $450,000. You get a bill for that. The
Mm-hmm.
shock factor alone, most people shut down,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't sit down and actually process it and try to figure out a route to move forward. It ends up going to collections, and then
Mm-hmm.
so no matter what, the company makes money. And
Yeah.
if you if you allow it to go to collections, you're going to owe that total amount. If
Yeah.
you take it from collections and you actually put it into and you actually start negotiating with them, it'll keep it from going into collections until you've negotiated the lowest possible rate. And
Mm-hmm.
then after you've negotiated the lowest possible rate, then hey, is there financial assistance?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, turn in a couple tax forms. You show that there's no way possible, and a lot of times they will actually write off all the remaining just due to having that in grant money that's sitting there that's specifically set aside by the federal government for those purposes. So
Right. So my question is, if even if you call it just they'll drop the rate down they'll write off 80% of it. Isn't the copay on an insurance, or isn't the private responsibility on insurance 20% anyway? I mean, doesn't insurance pay
yeah,
80% and you pay 20%?
but a lot of people that have those kind of plans, what they
Mm-hmm.
what they have is they actually have a rider plan that'll or supplemental that will actually cover the remaining 20%.
Oh, okay,
So
gotcha. I saw some questions back here, and there were some really good questions. I definitely want to get to them. Something about natural medications versus pharmaceuticals, um,
There is
and how pharmaceutical companies will fully believe there are cures out there, but the pharmacy buys up the patents. Okay. Yeah.
um
Okay.
medications. They're guys. I am not a anti-medication but a lot of our medications do come from China. A lot of medical ingredients, I should say,
Mhm.
not the medicines themselves. So there's a lot of medications that do come from China, but unfortunately, some of those, or actually, fortunately, some of those medications do not see our shelves because they are not approved by the FDA.
Mhm. That's true. No, if you think about it, China's got a huge landmass. They've got a lot of resources that the rest of the world does use. The world does use the stuff that grows there well. So China
Yeah.
does have a definite and permanent foothold in most industries.
Your son that just turned 16 is meeting the out of pocket himself for the whole family. Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it is in a lot of households.
Mhm.
So I feel that most people who work in the health insurance companies feel they're doing good to help their members. It's a hierarchy of said plans that get greedy. I agree with that as well.
Yeah, and the people on I'm not I'm not oh gosh, I'm an agency nurse. I don't know if you know what that means. If all of y'all know what that means. That means that just like you would have a temp agency for like an office secretaries, where they would go out into the whatever business needs a secretary for a week. Hospitals do that. They hire nurses in that fashion. I work for an agency and I am contracted out to hospitals, and frankly it pays a lot better. Like
Better than, yeah.
yeah, upwards of twice as in better. Um so I'm not going to pretend that I'm just some, hardworking underpaid person. I'm hardworking, not underpaid. Um so I'm gonna straight up. I can't ring that bell. But most nurses, the frontline workers that you're gonna see every day, they truly are trying to help people. They truly are trying to make a difference and trying to do the best thing they know how to do, that they've been trained to do, to help people. And they are really, really thoroughly, very shyly compensated for the things that they do. And honestly, there, a lot of the stuff that we do it's stuff like, oh, that's not a problem. We do that all day. But there's other stuff that it just takes an extra bit of, you know, it takes an extra. Not everybody wants to clean up, throw up all the time, and blood and poop and pee all the time. And generally, you do really have to pay some pretty good money to get somebody to do that. I'm just, that sounds terrible and absolutely mercenary, but it's true. They're a good, huge, I would say, majority of the population. You couldn't pay them enough to clean up poop every single day. So, and nurses do that. We're willing to do that. Um, that's not what makes nurses worth the money. Hopefully, the nurse knows what she's doing. That's right nice when they do. Um, but well, I
I
don't know. I guess I'm just rambling at this point.
it was kind of funny. I actually got a call the other day from a gentleman that I know really well. He
Mm-hmm.
had, well, his granddaughter started choking on something. He was asking about a tracheotomy. He had a trach kit and all that,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to. So, guys, do not do that at home. leave that to a health professional that knows what they're doing. Because I mean, we could walk you through it, but if something goes wrong, we're held responsible for it. So please, if you have to, if there's a choking thing, call 911.
Yeah.
Let the professionals do it. If they want to walk you through it, that's their prerogative. But I'm being somebody out of the abundance of caution. I don't know what state you're in.
Mm-hmm.
And if you call me asking me how to do a tracheotomy, I'm going to tell you to call 911. I'm
Yes.
not going to tell you how to do that because you may have a trach get, but you're not licensed. You don't know what you're doing. Please don't do it. You could kill somebody.
Yes. And we're not licensed to tell you how to do it. We're not licensed to tell you how to do it. And we're not trained how to tell you how to do it. We might can do it ourselves, but people who are licensed to work in the field, they have a specific set of training that includes, in some rare cases, how to tell people how to do things. We don't have that.
There are so you have nurses, and for the most part, nurses are they know how to do stuff, but if they tell you something, they tell you how to do something. Guess what? Something happens, they're liable. They go to jail.
Mm-hmm.
You have your certified nurse practitioners, who they can write scripts under the watch of a doctor, but they are not licensed to tell you how to do certain things as well. There are doctors who literally will not tell you, and they will straight up tell you, we can't give that information out because guess what? They're not licensed to.
Exactly.
The only people that you will see even give anything like that out are the paramedics, who literally that's all they went to school to just be on the ambulance, and that's all they do. They stabilize, they start all that stuff before the person ever gets to the hospital.
Yeah.
So if you're not trained and you have a kit, don't call and ask me how to do a trach, because I'm not going to give you that information. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. There even it is as specific in the hospital setting as like when you go from one floor to another floor, you don't know how to perform their tasks and duties that they do on that floor. I'm not qualified to work the ER. The ER is triage. It's heavily triage. On the rare occasion in 15 years, I think 3 times I've been floated to the ER, they stick me in the corner with the people who are already like stable. All I have to do is babysit them and transfer them up to the floor when they get a room. They don't let me triage because that's not part of my qualifications.
Why would somebody call me about that? Because I used to deal specifically with trauma and triage. I used to work with the ambulance crews very closely, so I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly. I've seen the nasty. I've literally seen a lot that I wish I hadn't. But again, there are people that know who I am. They know what I know, and they ask me questions. I'm just one of those guys that if you call and ask, call 911, because I'm not qualified to tell you how to do it. So, and ER does, if you ever get the chance to qualify or get down to ER and actually work ER for a long extended period of time, the ER is absolutely high adrenaline. And you go in one to another. It just you never have a dull moment.
Oh yeah, I've seen them, and I've seen and it looks fun in that oh my God, I'm gonna die sort of way. But as far as like, and as much as we floor nurses, we like to trash our ER nurses. Well, they can't send them up. They didn't have fluids going. They've had these fluids ordered for 10 hours. That's just us being jerks.
Yeah.
We're aware that the ER is a massively busy situation where you prioritize, and when you've got someone who's bleeding to death, you're not worried about Joe's fluid.
Joe Blow with the broken arm.
Exactly.
But okay, Lori, nurse practitioners don't have to work under a doctor in most states. No, we don't, but we still have to consult with our doctors, with the doctors for the various practices. That is a requirement that most nurse practitioners have to work under, because most nurse practitioners do not have to carry the same medical malpractice insurance that the doctors do, which is why you see more nurse practitioners working in the hospitals with the doctors. So yeah, there's people who have argued with me about it, and I enjoy that debate, because it's one worth having, because people don't realize that just because you're a CNP and you're able to write scripts and stuff like that, there's working in a hospital, you're still working with doctors, you're still consulting with those doctors. So yeah, I know anesthesia, I've heard that they do. My cousin, that's what he does as well out in Spearfish. So you guys are a whole different animal. I don't know how you guys do it. I've never, people tell me that I make a living putting people to sleep. Well, yeah, right now I do. Just kidding. I don't want to be.
This is exciting.
Yeah, there are people that, I mean, I never had to carry it working through the hospital system that I was in, but some people probably do, especially if they have their own practice. So, but yeah.
Yes, there are. So there do seem to be. You can get through nurse practitioner school and be a functional professional a lot quicker than you can get through medical school and be a functional practitioner. Partially because med school doesn't really, it's my understanding of it, it does not house a practicum time. They do all of their clinical hours basically after they graduate med school. Then they start over as brand new people who don't know how to do vital signs. And whereas, nursing, the whole time you're in nursing school, you also have a clinical. So once you graduate nursing school, you've got your license, you're already good at your job.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's why that's part of the reason that there's a push for a lot of nurse practitioners. The other reason there's a push is that you can get through nursing school and nurse practitioner school with considerably less debt, hopefully. And, why would you, unless you just have a burning desire to study and practice medicine, you're not really going to want to take on $400,000 worth of student debt to go practice medicine.
And Lori, I love going back and forth with the anesthesiologist, because we do have a love-hate relation. I know it was when I was actually working in the hospitals, we had a love-hate relationship with you guys, because we would love to make you guys hate us. we would, some of us would triage somebody out and send them they're going to OR or whatever, and you guys are having to do whatever you guys do. And trust me, I don't pretend to know what you guys do. I just know that you guys come in, they're either numb or they're asleep. They go into OR, they come out of OR, and there's somebody to bring them out. That's about the extent of my knowledge as to what you guys do. So, you guys, I absolutely love what you guys do,
Mm-hmm.
but
It's a big old mystery, but we love it.
we know that we don't do. I know we didn't do enough to prep the people for you guys. So, yeah. Um, did you miss? No, we never. We're gonna circle back to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't get back. We haven't gotten back to that. We kind of went off on a tangent, and yeah,
Yeah. We redheaded stepchild that one.
yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of different things that people in the hospital. I mean, quite honestly, do you know what the environmental services do? I know what their basic job function is, but do you know what they actually do?
Mm-hmm.
Sam?
Are you asking me? I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't realize you were asking me.
I know.
Okay. So actually, I have a pretty good idea of what they do, simply because on our unit, on our COVID unit, we have our dedicated environmental services crew. So you see the exact same people every day or every week. I mean, you see the same people every day. You know what they're doing. Like, I know in her cart where like the toilet paper is. Like, I because we are like, I went to her housewarming party. I gave her a set of glasses. It was really, nice. So you get really, really tight with your peeps when you work on that kind of a closed unit.
I remember. So I was just started with the hospital that I was working with, and we had a cleanup, and of course I call for environmental services. They were prepping OR, or cleaning OR, one of the OR rooms, and they called up and just started yammering at me like, "Hey, just go here. Here's where all the stuff is." And I'm like, they're like, go 6 doors down on the right hand side, and it's right down near the floor. And I'm just like, 6 doors down. So I walk 6 doors down. Well, there's radiology. So I turn around 6 doors the other direction.
Mhm.
Oh, there's a door, and then you open up their closet, and there's all these boxes full of different chemicals, different things, and I'm sitting here on my handheld phone, and they're trying to explain to me which box it's in, and none of the boxes are marked. So I'm like, yeah, you guys are gonna have a pretty fun time trying to or get this reorganized because all these boxes are coming out. So
Now, to be fair, in my situation, and probably partially because we do work as such a team, like the only thing that I really generally need environmental services like to do for us or to help us with, like, I'll be down on my hands and knees. I'm cleaning up that spill. It's just once I've got it cleaned up, just run the mop over it to disinfect it. That's all I need. It's going to be a nice dry floor by the time you get there. Because I
yeah,
done got on my hands and knees already. I wiped up every glob of poop and vomit. It is clean. All I need is just a wipe.
yeah, and I mean, they're again, it's a different breed that work in environmental services,
Mm-hmm.
and my hats go off to them because they see more crap than you and I probably will ever see in our life.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
And on our unit, they have to. They've got equipment that has to be, they have to treat the rooms with the ultraviolet lights that to disinfect all the rooms. They have to be, at an even time they're setting up Trudies in rooms to disinfect the rooms and things like that. The empty rooms, obviously, not the ones with people still in them. But so they're as much technicians as they are of, they don't just push mops around. They're plumbers.
But I mean, for me, it was just to see where they've evolved from, like when I was in the system, working in the system to now. It's like a night and day difference.
Yeah,
because they've taken on so many more responsibilities than even I have, or even I assume they would ever take on. So, yes, that day I forgot my X-ray glasses. But yeah, we have a lot of fun when you work in the hospital. You kind of learn who you can tease and who you can't, and I think that's with just about any other working environment. But
pro tip: if they have a necktie on, you can't tease them.
If you have a necktie, you know that your job's on the line if you try.
Right. Well, and because I work in the COVID unit, if you have a necktie on, if they have a necktie on, they're lost. They're not coming there like willingly. If they have a necktie on, they accidentally stumbled through the airlock or something, because they don't come up to the COVID units. God love them.
Yeah, well, if they're a necktie and they stumble through an airlock, I think there's a lot more wrong with them than.
Yeah, pretty much.
But going back into flipping the switch.
Yeah, that one, honestly, I'm not sure I understand that all the way.
So
Still working my way through that one.
Yeah.
And I know there are medications. There are supplements that you had mentioned that when you were talking to me.
There are supplements that have been proven to be able to flip that switch and actually activate that NRF2 pathway and allow our bodies to give a 1,000,000-to-1 ratio of antioxidants, which is a lot better than 1-to-1. I don't know if anybody caught that, but yeah.
Yeah. And how can I put it? I cannot recommend a.
She can't. I can.
I cannot. Right.
You're still employed. I'm not.
Right.
When it comes to that, I'm pretty vocal. If I can do a holistic approach to nutrigenomics and actually flipping on different switches within our own genes to actually activate different things, different genetic markers that will actually produce the antioxidants for our bodies instead of being destructive. Does that mean I'm saying that you shouldn't eat healthy? No. Eat everything that you're supposed to eat, because a well balanced diet, and I'm not saying well rounded because I think I got that one covered, but having a well balanced diet goes a long ways to helping our health. But the only supplement that I've actually found in regards to flipping that switch, and this is based on research and different things, is Protandim. And I don't throw names of supplements out there very lightly. If anybody is interested to see the research and see all that stuff that's there, let me know. I can get that over to you. No, I'm not a biomolecular engineer. No, I'm not. So
And
I
I'm
don't.
not a mean nurse. I am sometimes. Not general though. Not in general. I try to be really, really nice.
You try
Really
to be.
nice. I try to. There are those days, but I really try to every single day.
I think if you're a nurse and you say that you never have those days,
Right.
you're
You're just
lying.
lying. Yep.
But yeah, I know it's been kind of a fun fun morning,
Hmm.
and I would you guys reach out to me if you want to hear more or you want to see those research papers. Definitely reach out to me on Signal and or send me an email and we can communicate all that stuff. So guys, it's been a blast. I think Sam's had a lot of fun. I'm sure we'll have her back.
I did want to say one more thing though. So we
Okay.
had a discussion the other day about probiotics, and I kind of got a little probiotic shamed the other day. It is a legitimate area of consideration if you're talking about the whole body. You do have an internal biome. So in light of that, I have ordered a course of probiotics, and I am going to begin taking them and let y'all know how that goes. And I'm not going to open them before I swallow them. I'm taking them as directed on the bottle. But I'm going to give that a try and get back with y'all on any results that I happen to see. And it's all y'all's fault. All of it. It's your fault. I never would have started taking a probiotic again if it wasn't for you. So whatever happens, it's your fault.
Oh, don't blame the audience. But no,
Better
having
than taking responsibility myself.
well, yeah, but we all have to take responsibility for our own actions too. So,
That's true.
but guys, as always, it's been a pleasure this morning. I'm glad to see so many people have shown up and listened. I know it's two people going back and forth about some things that some people don't want to or really care to even hear.
Mhm.
But guys, as always, you have a microphone and a pen. Use them. The silent majority can no longer stay silent. God bless you guys. God bless the United States of America. We will see you tonight at 7 p.m.
Night.